Namaste. My name is Lubna Baqi, and I'm the country representative for the United Nations Population Fund (UNFPA) in Nepal. UNFPA has been working in Nepal for the last 40 years on population issues, and gender equality and women's empowerment is at the heart of our mission. Today we are marking International Women's Day on a very important theme, and the theme is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. The effects of climate change are impacting all of us. It is a global emergency and one of the greatest challenges humanity is facing today. At the forefront are the most vulnerable, those who have limited resources to cope with the changing climate. Women and girls are disproportionately impacted, and unless concrete measures are taken to address climate change, women and girls will continue to be left behind. My special guest today is Aditi Subba. She is a dynamic and passionate individual. She graduated in environmental conservation from the United Kingdom, and she returned to Nepal with a dream of making a difference through engaging with communities. She is now working in the Nature Conservation and Study Center in Nepal, and her special areas of interest are in understanding the dynamics between humans, their environment, and nature. Very warm welcome to you, Aditi, and happy International Women's Day. It's always really interesting to hear the perspectives of young people on issues that are impacting development. So let me begin by asking you, what is your perspective on climate change response and women's leadership? And how do you think climate change and disasters are impacting women living in Nepal today?
Well, climate change in general is affecting everyone, and it is especially affecting women in many ways in different rural areas of Nepal. Mainly because the men from the family have to leave their homes to earn money, and they move to cities or abroad. So it comes down to the women of the family to secure food, nourishment, and any necessities required for her family. So there are scarcity of water in hilly areas of Nepal, and women from that area have to travel hours to get just few jars of water for her family to cook food. And she has a woman in the family has to face challenges when there's extreme weather events like floods or landslides, and on top of that she has to bear the heartbreak of losing the loved ones or losing the property as well. And then there are some cases where climate change is impacting the cultural practices of some indigenous communities, and women have the responsibility as the household's provider, has the responsibility to keep the practice alive despite many disturbances in climate.
Thank you. So, given this context, what role do you think individuals can play to respond and mitigate to climate change at the household and community level?
Well, many people outside the urban areas of Nepal, like Kathmandu or Lalitpur, Bhaktapur, in the rural areas, many people depend in agriculture to sustain. And since climate change has altered weather patterns, we have rain later than expected, or the summer comes earlier than expected. So farmers have difficulty in navigating when to start irrigating their crops. And this has caused the farmers difficult to survive just only in agriculture. So I think diversifying livelihood is one of the immediate response many people from the local community choose to adapt to climate change. For instance, people who have few saving from their previous work, they open up small businesses in the form of local tea shops or small grocery shops, and others who choose to continue farming, they change their plantation routine. So instead of planting in on time as how it has been traditionally planted, they plant their crops a little bit later. And also there are some indigenous and local knowledge from the community themselves that they use to enhance the adaptation against climate change and its impacts. So these indigenous knowledges that has been preserved for generations, they help to enhance resilience and reduce disaster risks within the community, protect their environment, and not only that, it also helps them to, create innovative solutions that are less technological but very traditional to combat climate vulnerability and impacts in their society.
That's very interesting. So, what do you think are some of the ways that young leaders can be motivated to become agents of change on climate change issues?
One of the main thing that I've noticed is that youth want to come out and talk about these stuffs, talk about their experience. They want to experience more than what they are provided with. So I think encouraging youth to vocalize and communicate about these issues could be one of the major way. And not only on their own, I think allowing them to participate in outreach programs where they can exchange dialogues about climate change and other environmental issues, and it could be very effective in bringing youth from the local community to be a part of climate change issues. And also another effective way would be to integrate youth-based networking groups, which can be, which doesn't have to be from the same community. Youth from different communities can come together. They can work and educate themselves about climate change impacts or other environmental issues. Like-minded young adults who come together to not only learn from themselves but also promote awareness and advocacy that could go beyond their community as well.
So, Aditi, why do you think it's important to invest in women's leadership for transformative climate action?
Well, my experience tells me that given the fact that women are given more roles in their household than we expect, and I think given the role as a household person to provide food, to procure water and fuel and other necessary resources for their household, especially in rural areas, women are very well suited to come up with solutions and adaptation to climate change impacts, and not only well suited, but they're also very invested, very intrigued to do that, because women in general are typically they prioritize the welfare of their community and their family. They put their community and their family first to take a decision. And this mentality about of keeping their community and their family ahead could work in different levels, not only just in local level. Women leadership in political levels could, with that kind of mentality, could enhance positive climate actions and could provide us good policies which could provide good climate outcomes as well.
So, my final question is, what, in your opinion, are some of the key challenges and opportunities for gender responsive and inclusive climate change efforts in Nepal?
From my experience, one of the things that I feel one of the biggest challenge in Nepal would be my background is very much to understand the link between human and how they interact with nature, and adding gender roles, because men and women in our society are navigated to play different roles. And this is more strict, more stringent in rural areas as well. And because of that, the roles are easily accepted in the community. But there is very limited research done on how these gender roles will affect interaction with the community's interaction with the environment. So I feel that personally, I feel that if we could put more emphasis in understanding this linkage between gender roles and climate change adaptations, it could open doors to opportunities to produce more impactful climate change adaptation practices, and this could later be incorporated in policies and program development as well. So I think research, which is more specific than general, could really help in bringing out climate change adaptations, relevant climate change adaptations as a whole.
Thank you, Aditi, for taking the time to speak with us and for sharing your thoughts. You've made a lot of really important points today, and it's been really inspiring listening to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and happy International Women's Day to everyone again.